Alrighty, this is great. We've moved down the beach a little bit to, you can see behind me is the jetty. But where we're at is a very, very, very cool spot on the beach. And this beach, you can see, I'll just tilt the camera down a bit. And you can see on the ground here, we've got all these ripples. And what happens at the beach, unfortunately there's a lot of seaweed around, so it makes it a little unattractive. But for the purpose of this exercise, we're going to get the camera way down. We're going to get the camera way down low, and I'm going to line it up with these ripples, and we'll see what we get. And there's a little bit of cloud coming as well, so we might get a little bit of cloud, might get a bit of cloud movement in the sky. But we're going to play with these ripples a bit, and all we're going to do is basically exactly the same thing that we did before. So I've got the Olympus EM1 Mark III, but I've changed to the 7-14. I'm going to get this camera down nice and low. We're going to pick a spot. I'm going to try and get the jetty lights in the background. Let's line it up and see what we get. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to look for some of the lines with water in it, which is basically all of them. So look, I'm just going to pick a spot, plonk the camera down, we'll turn it on. All right, so I've got the camera down nice and low. I'm focusing up. So my headlamp is enough actually to focus, but it's also, now I'm going to zoom in a little bit because there's a bit of an island. There's a bit of a island. There's a bit of a spot on the other side of the, over there, where we might go spin an orb. F9. I'm going to go back to f5.6. I was kind of framed up a bit, framed up over there so that we've got some ripples in the foreground, and then there's a bit of a sandbar, and I'm going to go over and spin over on the sandbar, and we'll see how that goes. So what do we got here? Let's take a look at, so we're going to spin an orb. I have an orange softy here, which is one of my favorites. This thing is gorgeous. It just gives, as you'll see in a minute, just this beautiful glow. It feels nice and soft. Yeah, let's get into it. Let's not muck around. Let's turn this light off. There's a nice bit of cloud movement in the sky. So I've absolutely cranked the ISO on this video camera so you can see what's going on. The moon's just come out from behind the clouds. Let's go knock it out. Now I am just going to find something to put on the ground to spin around, because I know it's all going to look pretty same over there. So I've got a here we go. I've got a shell. All right, let's go. I'm going to set my exposure. We're at f5.6 again. So I'm going to turn the delay off because we don't need the delay now. And we're going to go for 3 minutes because I want that daylight look here. Okay, 3 minutes. We're open. I'm going to go over and find a spot, mark it up really well and get into it. All right, so I'm over here. I've popped my shell on the ground. Actually, I'm going to move across a bit because what I'm doing is I'm drawing a line between me and the camera. And what that means is that I can see water between me and the camera. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. All right, so we're at about 2 minutes, but here's an interesting thing, just while that's working. The cloud has come right in. The moon is hard behind the clouds, and so the light is very, very diffused. So it'll be interesting to see how bright it is. Obviously it's still pretty bright, but the moon is hard behind the cloud. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it goes. All right, let's see how we go. Let's see what we've got. Whoa! Alrighty, let's hit play. Oh my gosh. We're at about 1 billion ISO, so sorry about the picture quality. Okay, this is ridiculous. I'm gonna talk you through this image now. I'm so excited. Sometimes there's these moments where an image will just pop off the screen. I didn't even really think about it. I just thought, let's just grab an image and see what happens. So this is bonkers. We've got amazing movement in the cloud. Let's zoom in. It's an okay spin, but we got so much awesomeness. Okay. So unfortunately we haven't got much, there's not as much reflection as I would have liked down here. There's a bit more water over to my left. So I'm going to move across a bit, and then also what will happen is it'll take the orb away from the edge of the jetty. So straight away, let's just move across like 1 meter maybe. All right, let's line that up. Okay, it's going to sink into the water. Oh my gosh. Let's just take a look at it. Let's take a look at it again. I don't want to change anything. There's absolutely nothing I want to change about that apart from the position. So I've moved the camera to the left. It means that we're going to get a little bit more water. I love how bright it is. Let's not piss around. We're here to show you what the full moon can do. And I want to stress to you again, this is so important. We are at f5.6. That means that the shittiest lens that you can buy in a kit, you can capture this image. It's at ISO 200, f5.6 for 3 minutes. A kit lens will capture this image just like this. Let's not muck around, let's go again while there's still a bit of cloud. Oh my gosh. Okay, here we go. We're open. Now my spin wasn't very good. I need to focus, Dennis. Oh, wecka! All right. So I'm just going to put something out there. So let's have a bit of a look at this. It's really amazing. I mean, and this doesn't happen very often, right? But it actually feels a bit too bright. It actually feels a bit too bright. Okay, there's a few things with that one. I'm really happy with it. I love it. Great spin, movement in the cloud, nice reflection. There's a couple of things. Firstly, I think it's too bright. I know that sounds bizarre to even say that, but I think it's too bright. But the other thing is, we can crop and play with the position of the orb, but I actually wish that it was, I wish it was a bit further over to the right, off to the edge of the jetty. I think it'll make it a more pleasing image. So all I'm going to do is I'm actually, remember our rules. If the tool's too bright, if the tool is overblown, we increase the aperture or dim the tool. I think the orb is perfect. I'm really happy with that. But I think the scene is too bright. So what do? We don't expose for as long, right? Because that's the ambient light. So we're going to go from 3 minutes to 2 minutes. And I'm also going to move a good solid 2 sort of steps to the right, just to get off the end of the jetty. And we'll see how we go. Let's get into it again. All right, so good. Woo! All we're doing here is just getting the fine details now. So I'm going to change, I'm not changing anything on the camera. All we're going to do is we're going to change it to 2 minutes. So we're open, 2 minutes. And I'm going to move, I've got my shell on the ground, and I'm just going to, a big step across. I reckon that should do the trick. Alrighty, let's go. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 2, 3, 84, 85. Woohoo! Oh, okay, done. Let's have a look. Much better. Oh yeah, wicked. All right, so there's a whole lot more I love about that one. I love the position of the reflection. Bit of a wonky spin, but it doesn't matter. The reflection is gorgeous. Movement in the sky. So the reason I love that one a lot more, all right, so the reason I love that image a lot more is it makes it a much nicer crop. So I'll show you now how we'll crop it. The cloud's not quite as bright. Just overall, I just like that dialed back kind of feeling. I like the position of the reflection a whole lot better. And always remember this. It doesn't matter that it's a big image, because look, even for me, the vast majority of the images that I am going to, the vast majority of images that I'm going to post or you're going to see are on social media. So it only needs to be 1920 by 1080 pixels. So you can grab all sorts of tight crops out of that. I'll show you a few now. So yeah, I love it. I love that reflection. I love how down low. Now, obviously, you know, because the camera is down so low, that's what gives us a fantastic, fantastic viewpoint. If it was up any higher, you just wouldn't get that same reflection in the sand and the water. Yeah, it's bloody gorgeous. All right, now the next thing we're gonna do is, now one of the things is we're looking across the ripples. So the ripples are going, we're looking across the ripples. I want to change the angle of the camera so that we're looking along the ripples, and we're going to do some blading for that. I'll see you in a minute. Wicked. What a beautiful night. Oh my gosh. All right, so what I've done is I've repositioned the camera to be more in line with the ripples in the sand. So before we were looking across the ripples because I wanted to get that amazing reflection. But what I've done here is I've got the camera pointing out and across so we're looking along the ripples, which I think will be a lot sexier. And we've gone back to our blade. So the same one that we were using before with the orange gel in it. And I'm going to go across and we have a bit of a play and see if we can't nail this one. So again, I'm at f5.6 actually. So what I'm going to do, f5.6. This might be a little bright for f5.6, but there's only one way to find out. And of course, we need to go back to our 10-second delay because we need to start with the blade on. So we need to start with the blade on because I don't want to be fumbling around putting it on. And of course, we're not going to be at full power. When we turn it on, it's at full power. So I'm going to turn it down a stop. I'm going to pick my spot. I'm just going to walk out to about, there's a chunk of seaweed here. I'm just going to line up the two cameras. So in my mind's eye, I'm lining up the two cameras. And there doesn't seem to be. There's our delay, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now this is interesting. I couldn't see the light on the remote to tell me if it was going or not. So this will be interesting to see what happens. I'll see you in a couple of minutes. All right, 1.5 minutes, here we go. Whoa, that's pretty crazy. Wow, okay. There's a lot going on here, but it's amazing. Gosh. Okay, yeah, I really like that. I mean, I like, yeah, it's if we zoom in, it's kind of cool. I think we need to, they're going to do something crazy here. I need to frame up a little bit anyway, because I want to see more of the light painting and a bit less of the... So what are we going to change? We need to change something. I don't quite like it. The tool, I like the dimness of the tool, but we're just going to go to full power. I'm going to use it at full power, which means I probably need to, I'm going to go to F9. And how long did we go for that time? It was a 1.5 minutes. All right, F9, 1.5 minutes. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hiya! Hiya! We'll see how we go. A lot of cloud coming in. It's often on nights like this that I'm out of focus, but that's cool. It's often on nights like this that I'm really pleased that we get a bit of moon before the cloud comes in. Although it's always going to be, on a full moon, it's always going to be a nice diffused light anyway. All right, minute 15. Ah, that's better. I like that. All right, let's get in there and have a look. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love it. Okay. Oh, crouching down. Oh man. Okay, this is crazy. I'm just going to bring up that last image. And this is gorgeous. I absolutely love it. I love the cloud. There's a lot of cloud, which is all right. I can see the lights in the background. That's fine. But I love the reflection and I love the texture and tone of the tool, right? And I want to talk to you a bit about that, because when you're blading, it's really tempting sometimes just to, you know, when you look at this image, it's twisting, it's all in the wrist. It's always moving like this, always. And because we've got, you can see we've got the bright light coming out of the iris here, I'm making sure that every now and then that's going to the camera, so we do get those little starbursts. But what you want to do, and this is what we're about to do now, is when you get it right, so when so we're at f9, I'm happy with that. The brightness of the tool is good, I'm happy with that. Everything feels right. You just bang them out. Hit go, off you go. Hit go, off you go. Hit go, off you go. And we just knock out 5, 6 or so images until we're happy. Something else you might be able to see is the tripod is sinking down into the sand. So that means a couple of things. One is the images might be a bit blurry, but I don't care. All right, I'm going to get into it. Let's knock a few out and see how we go. I'm just going to check how long the exposure was for. Minute 15. You know what? I'm even going to come back a bit. I'm even going to come back a bit to 1 minute. I don't mind a bit of darkness. Let's just live with it. Let's live with the darkness. All right. I'm coming across. We've got our 10-second delay on. I've also adjusted the position of the recording screen so I can see the light to tell me when we're actually recording. All right, so 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, and we are on. Moving the wrists. Hey, bit of height. All right. I have a bad habit of forgetting that less is more sometimes, you know. Like, you know, I often think to myself, you know, I should just do a little less. There was a lot going on there, but we'll see. Some try a little less, try a little more. You know, I'm probably gonna knock out 5 or 6 right now, and yeah, we'll be able to pick the best 1 or 2. It's a beautiful night, the wind's died down. It's so gorgeous. This place is literally about 3 minutes drive from my house. I'm very, very, very happy that I live here. All right, here we go. Let's have a look. 54, 55, 56, 57. Okay, let's have a look at that. That's moody. Yeah, I kind of like that. See, too much light painting. So we're just going to go again, but I'm just going to move a bit quicker across the scene. Just a bit quicker. All right, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we start the blade moving before so what we do is we've set the timer, so we set the timer going, and then I'm watching the light on the top change from green to red, and then I'm already moving the blade before it changes to red so that we get a nice smooth start to the blading. So I'll talk you through that. Just got really dark, so the cloud has completely come in. There's almost no light. So just to show you how, I'm just going to do something. I'm going to change our exposure time to 2 minutes, just to try and absorb a bit more light, because the moonlight has almost gone. So let's get this party started. I'll talk you into the start and then through the exposure. All right, we've got our 10-second delay. 9, 8, 7, 6. I can see the green dot on the start. With the lights ready, I'm going to start moving. And 3. Less is more, Den. All right, there we go. Hopefully that'll be the one. A bit less is a bit less. Alrighty, so it's really nice, this last one. We'll talk about this in a minute, but the cloud has come right in, but just going a little longer has just given us a little more light. It's really good. I really like that one. All right, I'm going to stop that recording, reset, and we'll have a chat. Well, what a night. What a night. You know, the idea with these tutorials is that I really want a situation where you get to experience situations and places that have either meant a lot to me over the years, or I think, you know, where there might be images that you've seen that I'm recording. You know, you've seen images of mine that you might have liked or that I love, and I want to go out and I want to recreate those, and that's what we've done tonight. We've gone underneath the jetties, which are some of my favourite places. I learned light padding under these jetties. Is where I came to discover, you know, I mean, I didn't even know what a leading line was, but anyway, so we've had a great night. We had a very bright moon. It's completely clouded in now. So I'm stoked that we got to shoot for a little bit. So let's have a bit of a review. Look, we'll go backwards. We'll go backwards through them from the last image that we just shot. I mean, just fantastic. I bumped the exposure time up. We're really going back to those core things that we keep talking about. Exposure time, aperture, tool brightness. Here we went a bit longer to absorb a bit more light. If we look at the one before, it was a bit dark. So that was a bit dark. I loved everything about it, but it was a bit dark. So we went from 1 minute to 2 minutes, and look at the difference. Boom, there it is. Everything's there, but we didn't blow out too much. I still love these. I love the reflections. I love the ripples. I love the play of light. So that was a really nice set. Look at this beautiful little reflection in the foreground there. Look at that. There's so much detail. I absolutely love it. So the blading was lovely with the ripples. We knocked out a few. I had this orb. I mean, this was so nice. Everything I love. Over the years, I have created this shot so many times, and just like all of these things, every single time is different. You will never ever capture this shot like this ever again. A few variations on that. You know, we wanted to move here. This is the first one. So I wanted to get away from the jetty. So we move away from the jetty, but I wanted to move a little further, and I wanted it to be a bit dimmer. So we had made some adjustments there. So all in all, just a gorgeous night out in one of my favorite locations. We are going to shoot a lot of tutorials down here because I love this place. Under the jetties in summer, we'll come down, I do all of my liquid light here in the water. It's going to be just wonderful. I love it, and I'm super looking forward to it. It's been a beautiful night on the beach. Thanks for joining me. I hope you've picked up a whole lot of tips and tricks tonight. Remember, anything you want to know, just give me a bell. Thank you so much. Peace. So here's our images from the last little session on the beach. We've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 that were kind of usable. The interesting thing about looking at these is we can see really clearly between 1 and sort of these last few here that it started to get pretty dark, and we were adjusting the camera to compensate for that. I'm not going to go through too much processing with them. We're going to look at 2. So I discussed during the tutorial the idea, the concept of taking serious heavy crops out of images. So I want to run through that with you. So let's look at this particular image here. Now we can see over here on the right hand side that this is a 5,000 by around 5,000 by 4,000 pixel image. So I want to show you how we can make a whole lot of different images from this one. I think it's a cool thing to be doing. So we're going to do a quick bit of a process on it. The amazing thing is it was such a bright night out there. I still hit the auto button, gives me a bit of contrast. Highlight. We're going to drop the. We don't need to drop the highlights down too much. We can see here that obviously it's blowing out from the lights on the jetty, and look here, pretty sketchy looking orb, but that's okay. So my normal crop would be a 16 by 9. You know, if I was not worrying too much about wanting to grab bits and pieces, this is probably how I would crop it around about here. I'm going to make a quick virtual copy of that. So I've got another, whoops, it did a virtual copy of all of them because I had them all selected. So I'm just going to select this one, create a virtual copy. And then I'm going to show you, so I'll return the crop back to as it was shot. All right, so let's imagine that I didn't want to see the jetty in the shot. So we can do this. If I'm doing a 16 by 9 crop, now this is always assuming that this image is going onto social media. So let's say we wanted the ball of light to be the hero of the shot. So look at this heavy crop that I've done here. I hit enter. You know, we can do a bit of processing on it, give it a bit of clarity. You know, I need to figure out, I think it's applying sharpening on import, but that's okay. Look at the detail down here in the reflection. I absolutely love it. I'm going to crank the saturation up a touch just for fun. Now I love the clouds, so I'm going to give a bit of clarity, because what clarity will do is it'll give us a bit of detail in the clouds there. I'm not going to go, we could do some noise reduction and sharpening, but the purpose of this post-processing session is just to show you some variation in cropping and how we can treat this image differently. I'm going to create another virtual copy, and let's say we wanted to create something I'm going to take it back to the original just so we can be clear on what I'm doing. So let's say I wanted to create a 4x5 for Instagram. So we go over here, 4x5, bring it into the vertical, and we want to create something. Now I really love this sky, so we're going to make the sky the hero of the shot here, because I love that movement we're getting in the clouds. We'll get rid of the jetty there. Boom, look at that. Oh my gosh, that's so good. I'm going to crank up the contrast a bit. I'm going to come down with the exposure on this one. I think it makes the movement in the clouds a little clearer. A bit of clarity always makes the clouds look good. A little bit of saturation. Let's get rid of that sharpening, and we'll go down for the old vignette trick here. Even though it's just slight, it just sort of brings the focus into the orb there. So look, let's look at these three. What we've got here now is we've got 3 really different images. Let me I don't know how to just have these on the screen. No, it doesn't matter. So let's look at these 3 that we've got here. 1, 2, 3. 3 very different crops, 3 very different images, all from the same one. And this is what I want to point out to you. Look at the size of this photograph here, right? It's massive, 5,000 by 4,000 pixels. I'm going to export these out to a folder, and I want to show you something really fascinating. Export. I've got a little sample folder here. I'm not going to resize them. I'm just going to send them out in the pixels that they are with the crop. Overwrite, and let's go have a look in this folder. And I'll show you something really amazing. School of Light, process samples. All right. So let's take a look at these photographs here. and I'm just going to bring up the info on them. All right, check this. So these photographs are still huge. They are, the one on the left there for the 4x5 crop is still 1988 by 2485. Now, I'm a massive believer that 1920 long edge is plenty for Instagram and for social media. So look at the size of these. This one's like 5,000 by 2,600. This is about 3,000 by 1,500. So they are still huge files. One of them 7 megabytes. You could print this absolutely massive. But look at this one. I love it. Absolutely perfect for social media. You know, we might touch it up and clean it up, but the point is, and what I think I've demonstrated here is that, you know, you can do a massive amount with this file. You can crop it, chop it, pluck out little bits, and get some awesomeness. Now, here is my favorite image from the night, and I'll show you the same sort of thing here. We can come, if you wanted to, just for fun, you could come in so tight on this photograph. Boom, 16 by 9. If we just want to fill the frame with that photograph. Here's a cool thing. You can see my feet. Look at that. And what that is, this is where the blade has come down, and because of the angle, it's showing up my foot. That's hilarious, but you wouldn't really see it. I love this photo. Absolutely gorgeous. It blows my mind. It's, you know, if it wasn't for all the stuff in the background, this could almost be a print. Anyway, I hope they helped. You can crop a whole lot of different things out of a single image. Love the reflection down here. Look at that. Look at the way it plays in the water here. Anyway, I hope that helped. Brilliant. Let's move on. I hope you enjoyed this visit to the School of Light. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'll be adding videos all the time. Head over to the Light Painting Tool Shop at the website. There's a huge array of tools I've made there for you to take on your light painting journey.